Okay. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Thank you all at home for watching our Town Board meeting. Tonight is a Town Board work session, and the date is June 24th, 2015. So before we get started, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Councilman Lombardi, would you lead us this evening?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just take a moment to reflect on the sacrifices of the men and women around the country who serve this great nation and provide us with the blanket of freedom that we live under each and every evening.
Thanks, Frank. Okay. For the record, all Town Board members are present this evening with the exception of Councilman Schneider, who is at another event and he was unable to attend our meeting this evening. Our Town Attorney, Greg Fulchetti, is all the way down to my left. So at 6:30 p.m., the Town Board met in executive session to go over some information that the Town Comptroller, Mary Ann Maxwell, had requested that the Board consider, and that was a personnel matter, so that's why we were in executive session. So the Town Board meeting, regular Town Board public work session has just convened, and the first item on the agenda is the review of the Town Board minutes of June 10th, 2015. And unless any Town Board members would like to discuss those minutes, we'll be moving on to number 2 on the agenda. Is this to consider a bond return for tax map number 55.11-1-8, 9, and 10. And this is, the amount of the bond is for $273,000. And it's regarding the new Meadowland dealership, the improvements that they made to Meadowlands up in Carmel off of Route 6. The address is 1952 Route 6, and once again, the tax map is 55.11-1, 8, 9, and 10, and the bond register number is 778. On May 27, 2015, the Planning Board passed a motion to recommend a return of the above caption, the full bond return for the above caption property. And there is a memo also attached here from the Engineering Department. Rich Franzetti, the town engineer, performed a field inspection of the reference property on March 23rd of 2015 to evaluate the current status of the site construction for the purpose of determining whether a bond reduction is warranted. The results of our investigation are presented below. The original bond amount was $273,000. Based upon our inspection, all of the site improvements required pursuant to the board's site plan approval have now been completed. On this basis, the department recommends that the entire bond be released. We trust that this is adequate for your records, for your needs. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call me, and that's Town Engineer Rich Franzetti. And also, in keeping with the process and procedure regarding bond returns, Mike Carnazza, the Director of Codes Enforcement for the Town of Carmel, he also inspected the site on 4/22/15 and found full compliance with the approved site plan as it pertains to zoning. There were a couple of items that the building inspector spoke about while he was doing the site inspection, and the owners of the property have complied to those issues. Basically what there were some balloons and banners that they had put up, and they're now removed. So the full bond of $273,000 has been approved for return by the Planning Board, by the Engineering Department, and by zoning Inspector Mike Carnazza. Does any board members have any questions with respect to Meadowlands bond return? No? Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, number 3, Glenn Drosy, the town assessor. He's requesting permission to attend a continuing ed certification class. And the date of that is September 11th, 2015 in Oneonta, New York. And it's October 4th. And also, there's a second class he'd like to attend, and that is October 4th through October 7th at the 2015 New York State Assessors Association Annual Conference. There is money in the assessor's budget line to pay for the cost of this conference, and also there is reimbursement money that does come back to the town from New York State for the attendance at the training seminar. So some of the money that is incurred as a cost to the seminar will be returned back to the town if the assessor attends, and which he will be. So the cost is going to be minimal because some of the money is going to be returned back to the town. This is pretty standard practice for the Assessors Association, that they do reimburse the town's money for the assessors that attend. Any questions regarding the training seminar that the assessor would like to attend? And this is for his continuing ed credits as well, as continuing education credits, which is mandatory in the state of New York, that they have to attend these training seminars to keep their certification. Frank, you have anything for it? Okay. All righty, next item on the agenda, number 4, the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. This is to consider request to enact coverage under the Volunteer Firefighters Benefit Law, allowing assistance by volunteer firefighters to assist commanding officers outside of the Fire Protection District number 2, which is the Mahopac Fire Protection District. I do have a letter here from Vincent Roberto Jr. He's the current president of the Mahopac Fire Department, and I just want to read this quickly, if I may. Dear members of the town board, at the June monthly meeting of our department, there was a unanimous vote by the members of the department to request the town board to enact coverage under the Volunteer Firefighters Benefit Law, which allows assistance by volunteer firefighters outside of the Fire Protection District number 2. Prior to the arrival at the scene of a commanding officer of another jurisdiction, currently the VFBL coverage for firefighters is provided when an officer of that jurisdiction is on the scene and accepts service of a firefighter not of that jurisdiction. We feel that being able to render service prior to the arrival and acceptance of service by an officer of another jurisdiction, this can make the difference in the outcome of the emergency and potentially save lives. I have enclosed information regarding a resolution for the town board. Would like to have them enact for coverage to be provided for the volunteer firefighters. It fully explains the purpose and the change in the General Municipal Law, number 209I. The sample resolution is that for a fire district with a Board of Commissioners, which provides VFBL coverage in a fire protection district. It is the town board that act as trustees of the fire district, and as the town provides the VFBL coverage. It is our hope that the town board will pass such resolution and provide the coverage we seek. Should the board have any questions or need additional information, I'm available to assist and may be contacted at fire headquarters. We have Vinnie Roberto Jr., the president of the fire department, with us this evening. Vinnie, welcome. Thanks for being here. If you'd like to come up and expound upon what I just read in your letter, if there's any additional information.
Supervisor Schmidt, members of the board, good evening. We recently at the fire department became aware that there was legislation at the state level providing this particular coverage that is permissive legislation that the town board is required to enact to add this particular coverage for
requested first?
No,
If we included Mahopac Falls, Carmel Fire?
the only distinction is that Carmel is a fire district. So Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department and Mahopac Falls, I don't know why you do one and not the other in terms of affording them the protection of the law, okay? The fire district for Carmel, for Fire Protection District Number 1, is a little bit heavier of a lift, okay? But it still can be done, but there's action by the Board of Commissioners of that district that we probably need in advance of the town board taking any action with respect to their service outside their boundaries,
Okay, so we would need their board to request it.
at the very least, okay?
Yeah, I have no problem with Mahopac and Mahopac Falls, and maybe possibly reaching out to Carmel, if that's the protocol, and asking them.
Yeah, well, what I think we
So we
should-
can put all three in.
Well, what I think we should do is probably
Proposal.
enact this by resolution next week, and in the meantime, we can reach out to the other fire
All
districts.
fire
and-
districts.
And see if this is something that they're interested in, and
Well, we should call them tomorrow.
I was gonna say, why don't
Okay,
we call
I
them
think-
tomorrow,
I
because
think-
it's
except for
late.
the fact that they may need to have a directors meeting, et cetera, et cetera.
Those, Mahopac and Mahopac Falls are volunteer fire departments. They'd be treated exactly the same. So if you're going, and in all candor, when you think about the possibility for
Crossover.
cross-jurisdictional action,
It's,
those are the two that probably would have, they would certainly have more likely than Mahopac Falls and Carmel 1.
right.
So I think that if you're going to do it, you would afford it to both Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department and Mahopac Falls, and then you have to deal with the fact that Carmel 1 is a fire district, and you would do that separately at a future date. Hopefully, if it's going to be done in the near future.
All right, that's fine.
The number of times that this actually takes place where you have to ask permission, or what, is it more happening in the town of Carmel, all three hamlets, if you will, or?
It could happen any place because we travel around.
Responders travel.
I would say that probably within the town of Carmel, there's a more likelihood that that particular service would probably come into play. But we could be traveling someplace else within the state of New York, and it could happen. Especially out on a highway, traveling interstate, whatever it be. So I think that this would be something good, that the town can be a leader on and be demonstrative as far as other areas. And I'm certain that we'll probably, through our fire service organizations, reach out to our neighbors, and hopefully they will have reciprocity, so to speak, and enact the same thing so that their people can do what we're going to do. And the town of Carmel may benefit from a Somers firefighter being in our district.
We, during the initial due diligence, when this came forth, we reached out to the comptroller, and the comptroller reached out to our insurance agent, just so everyone knows, and this would not increase our premiums or anything like that, looking at it from a cost standpoint. So, I mean, again, in general, if it's most likely to benefit, all three hamlets, to me, it's a no-brainer, but also to be good Samaritans outside of the town. So I no additional cost, but doing right for society, we should go forth.
Any further?
Vinny, did you want to reach out to the representatives of the other fire departments and find out from them? Because they may not be familiar with this, and maybe you can educate them.
We got, everybody in the county got the same information distributed through our fire chiefs organization, the Putnam County Volunteer Firemen's Association, the state of New York, the Firemen's Association of the state of New York, and even the Hudson Valley Firemen's Association have kind of bombed everybody, and we were starting to get the paperwork within the past couple of months, because the effective date is June 15th. It couldn't be enacted prior to June 15th. So I wouldn't be surprised if the other fire departments will approach you. What it requires for us to take an action like this is we need to go before our general membership meeting and say, this is what we want to do. I want to approach the town board to enact a resolution providing that coverage. So there was a vote by our membership, and it may require a vote by Mahopac Falls or Carmel's membership or their board of directors to approach the board to do that same thing for them.
Okay. All right, so I'm sure once the other fire departments are aware that we've granted it for Mahopac, or we will be next Wednesday, I'm sure they're going to follow suit and join you and, approach the town board and request the same coverage.
I don't mean to speak for them, but I would think that if the board was proactive and got ahead of them on it, I think that they would appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Okay,
Anything else?
thanks, Vinnie.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Have a
thank you.
great
Yep,
evening.
have a good evening. Okay. So who's going to, you want to contact them? You want to reach, do you know who to reach out to?
Do you know how to work the phone?
No, I can.
I'll do it.
Well, you come in anyway, Sue, so I'm
Yeah, I
going to
know.
give you some work to do.
You can sit in his seat.
What was that?
She has. She has. Okay, all right. Next item on the agenda, number 5,
You watching?
Town Legal Counsel. Town Legal Counsel, consider renewal of the Putnam County e-waste services.
I made an
agenda?
That's awesome.
Greg, do you want to, I do have a couple of questions with respect to modifications that probably, or amendments that should be made to the agreement
Okay. Well,
on
this
page
is
4.
correct. There's an e-waste agreement for the collection of electronic waste that the county has with the 6 municipalities within the county of Putnam. And what's happened is the county has engaged a collection service for the e-waste materials, and there are e-waste containers at various locations, and contracts were entered into with with the municipalities in the past for the provision of that service. The contract expired last year at the end of conclusion of 2014, and the county's looking to renew it on the same general terms with all the municipalities. I was contacted by the county law department a couple weeks back, so we put it on an agenda for the board to consider renewing the contract for the service, which there's no direct charge to you for, okay? With respect to our particular location, if you recall, the container location was on a county-owned property off of Route 6N. Sometime in 2014, the town was advised that we needed to relocate that onto another parcel, which I believe has been relocated probably 3 or 4 months ago. It took a little while to locate one, but we have one in the Hamlet of Carmel where we're collecting the waste. So I don't think it would change the terms of the agreement at all, except for the fact that that prior site was a joint county and town depository, and this would only be a town of Carmel depository for our own purposes in this particular location. Whether the county has another site or whether they utilize the site that we no longer use, that's completely up to them. But on the revised agreement, we're basically looking to see whether in concept you wish to do the agreement again with the county and the other municipalities for that service. And if you are, one of the detail changes will be that it's no longer the 6N parcel. It's I know, where is it? Is it on
It's
Salt?
at 48 McAlpin Avenue?
Is it 40 McAlpin?
48.
It's here, okay.
Yeah, 48 McAlpin.
Okay, so not in the Hamlet. I thought we
No, it's up,
moved to the Hamlet.
it's
Okay.
up here. So that's,
Conveniently close to town hall.
so the change, the address change.
Right,
for
and
the
it will
town
be
of
an
Carmel is
exclusive town
48
depository.
48 McAlpin Avenue.
Right, okay.
Oh, and Greg, the language that's under the town of Carmel heading county, in the county of a joint collection site for the county of Putnam, that's going to be removed?
Correct. We would just have
Okay,
our
just
current
our own-
location
Okay.
within the town, and it would
Like
be
the rest of
only the town's locations. Like all of the other municipalities are not joint locations. They're parcels owned by those respective municipalities where those residents can take their e-waste. All right?
Okay.
And then for it's generally an annual agreement. It'll be whatever the county's hauler has. We'll probably try and do it to the end of 16 if possible, so we're not dealing with this at the end of 2015 again on a renewal basis or dealing with it behind like we're doing now. My understanding is it's a 2-year agreement they have with them, so it'll probably be to 12/31/16, but I'll confirm that with you. It's a term matter, it's not a substance matter.
Okay. And Greg, under page 4, the other towns, Tatana, Patterson, Phillipstown, Port Valley, and Southeast, they don't have the language in there regarding "and shall be exclusively staffed and exclusively operated by the town of Carmel." That's going to be removed also?
Who staffs it now?
Well, we do.
Right.
We do.
So
Yeah. Well,
the entire component there is because it was a joint site. The county got to use it, but they were not staffing it. We are going to staff it. We staff it now, do we not?
we do.
We
but
staff 48 McAlpin.
Do we need to continue to have that language under the town of Carmel? Because none of the other towns, all the other towns do staff theirs also.
Correct.
So, is the town of Carmel going to be the only town that has the language in it that shall be exclusively staffed?
No, that was only in that because you had the
Because we
joint,
had it then.
the dual jurisdictional use, okay? So it won't be that way, but we are providing the staff
Okay.
for the site. And there's varying hours, right? It's not
10
24-hour drop.
10 to 2.
Okay.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on
That
Saturday.
whole clause would come out, and it would just
Yeah,
mirror the other 5 municipalities with that particular street address.
okay.
Good.
Can we bill the county back for the amount of money we paid our staff to staff it on their property for a jointly owned county collection site?
I'm
with the
sure they're
town?
writing a check right now.
Yeah, okay.
Send a bill, see what happens.
On this note, though, because I live next to the old depot, the salt shed, we do need to get a sign, because there's 3 TVs right now. People are still dropping equipment off there
At the old site?
at the old site.
Nobody's supposed to drop it.
Well, they're not supposed
to
to, they're not supposed to drop it, they're supposed to come into the site, but they're dropping it outside the fence.
I think there is a sign.
I drove by it and I saw it and there was no sign.
I saw it once.
No sign saying that it should be moved, that it moved over
Yeah,
here.
there should be.
I didn't see it.
It's not there?
No, I
It's not
didn't
on
see it.
No, okay.
So,
I'll check, because Jimmy Gilchrist was
Power
going to take
supply.
care of putting a sign up there.
yeah, I didn't,
You didn't see it?
Are you
I
hiding?
All
noticed
right.
it was knocked down or
Yeah.
taken away,
All right.
but there's
No,
3
we could be here
TVs
for another
there.
hour, so.
And it would be good to have a permanent
Yeah,
sign
yeah.
or a better temporary sign to say that it's moved over here.
Until the people at least get used to where it is.
Yeah.
The sign that I saw just said, up the block, Lupinacci's house on the lawn.
Yeah. As long as it works.
As long as it's a nice flat screen and it works, right? But I don't think the ones there recycling are flat screens yet.
No, they're very big.
Yeah. Okay. All right, next item, number 6, Rich Franzetti, PE Town Engineer. Consider request for filing of the annual MS4 report for 2015. Rich?
Good evening, everyone. As the board is aware, there is a federally mandated regulation known as Phase 2, which requires permits for stormwater discharges from municipal separate storm sewer systems, or MS4s, in urbanized areas, that a report that be given annually to the state. As the town of Carmel is an MS4 community, we are required to do this. The draft report was placed on the town of Carmel webpage on April 29th of this year. And to date, no comments were received. This report can now be called final and submitted to the state as part of the permit requirements. So I have attached for the board to review the final annual MS4 report. The document will need to be signed by the owner-operator, which in this case is the supervisor, and then forwarded to the DEC. And then a final copy of the document will be placed on the Town of Carmel webpage.
Okay, any questions or comments by the board regarding the annual MS4 report? No? Okay, being none, Rich, we're going to go on to number 7. This is to consider request to rescind proposal of Stuart W. Bates Incorporated and accept proposal of Cook Excavating for Town Hall Fuel Dispensing System Electrical Trench.
So as requested, the town board authorized that that the reference project, the Town Hall Fuel Dispensing System Electrical Trench, be awarded to Stuart Bates in the amount of $8,700. That resolution was dated May 7th. Stuart Bates has advised the engineering department that they are withdrawing their proposal, and we therefore recommend that previous resolution of the board be rescinded, and that the board now authorize the project be awarded to Cook Excavating. They were the number 2 proposer in this case. Cook has verified that their price remains in effect, and they verified with the controller's office that funds are available, subject to a budget transfer. This department recommends that the excavation project be awarded to Cook Excavating at a cost of $9,400. So it's an increase of about $650.
Okay, questions, comments by the board? regarding the change of the contractor for the trenching for the new fuel dispensing system. Rich, any idea when this work may be undertaken? You know, once we approve it?
I
mean-
will ask Cook to do it as soon as possible. We were pushing Bates to do it as soon as possible, and
Okay,
he rescinded his, proposal. So
okay.
we'll get Cook to do it as soon as he can. And then we'll go through the whole process that we did last year and get, Conklin and to do the
Yeah.
work. So Conklin has now changed their name, so we got to talk about that.
Yeah, I was going to
at the
ask you
meeting.
about that.
So-
You know, how that's going to affect the proposals or anything. Are they going to have to submit a new proposal under the new name?
I don't, we could talk about that on, offline. but
Okay,
Probably not. I think if they adhere to the original proposal, but that's up to Greg to make that decision or help guide us through that decision.
okay. All right, very good. Good, Frank? All right. Thanks, Rich. All right, next item, also, Rich Franzetti, Town Engineer, consider master agreement with the New York State Department of Transportation for stormwater improvements and requesting reimbursement of $100,000 for Breckenridge Road, S836. Rich?
So attached to the correspondence is a copy of the master agreement for the caption project, which is multimodal number 4 for the Breckenridge Road stormwater improvements, project S836. The total amount of state funding is $100,000. It is my understanding that the work has already been completed by the Highway Department. Please know that the New York State Department of Transportation did provide 6 copies of the master agreement to be signed. At this time, we are requesting the authorization from the town board for the supervisor to sign the 6 copies of the master agreement. Upon execution, 5 copies will be sent back to the state for signature. Once we receive the fully executed copy of the document, we will apply for the disbursement of request of $100,000. So we're just looking to get money that we were promised and just move forward with it from there. So we just need to go through the paperwork process.
Okay, great. There's $100,000 sitting up in Albany that they'd like to return to us. So we just have to approve that by resolution and authorize me to sign the agreements, and we'll do that. Good. Susie? All right, $100,000 back from the state? Okay. Thanks, Rich.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, yep. You have to go back on the other side?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, okay, good. Have fun with that.
Harold was not in a good mood tonight, so he'll be angry at me now.
Okay.
leaving, so.
Oh, we don't want him in a bad mood. We want to keep Harold in a good mood. I've seen him in a bad mood. Okay, all right. I don't know if I'm going to have to make this announcement or not, but I will. Is there any members of the public that would like to come up and ask any questions, comments regarding the agenda items we covered? You got to ask. Got to ask. Okay. All right, open forum. This is the new business portion of the meeting. Is there anyone that would like to come up and address the board regarding town-wide business, new business? Must be a resident, taxpayer, or business owner in the town of Carmel to address the board.
With a pulse and present here, I know Bob's here, but
There's
he's with the
one,
paper.
there's one.
I know, but he's with the paper.
Oh, yeah. All right, but I do have to say it. You know, we could dispense with it, but I do have to say it. Yeah, so that's it. I do have a couple of announcements. The town historian of the town of Carmel, Mary McDonald, has requested that I read this. The town of Carmel, along with the Red Mills Historic District Committee, will hold their annual Independence Day concert on Saturday, July 4th, 2015, from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. in the gazebo at the Red Mills Historic Park, located on Route 6N and Hill Street. It's behind the Mahopac National Bank in Mahopac Falls. Bring your lawn chairs and blankets and enjoy an outdoor concert of patriotic music by the Norm Hathaway Big Band with a reenactment performance by the 2nd New York Regiment Brigade of the American Revolution. The event is free to the public and is sponsored by Tompkins Mahopac National Bank. For further information, call Mary McDonald, our town historian, at 628-1500, or Alan Warnicki, Chairman of the Red Mills Historic District Committee, at 845-628-5705. That's a really, really good event that day on July 4th, and I encourage those who have not attended that in the past, because they've had it annually now for about 4 years, I would say, that it's a really nice event. Bring your family and, bring your lawn chairs and blankets, because you're going to enjoy yourselves, and it's a really good time for the family. Sunset Concert Series. Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night it opens up down at the Route 6N Mahopac Carmel Chamber Park. The concert tomorrow night is the Nashville Drive. It's a top 40 modern country. So once again, bring your lawn chairs and blankets for the event tomorrow evening, June 25th, down at the Mahopac Carmel Chamber Park. It's hopefully the weather's going to be nice. I believe it is. Keep your fingers crossed. And I hope that it's well attended. It usually is, and because there's really nice bands and they're very entertaining, you'll enjoy yourselves. A lot of people come out for that, so get there early and to stake your claim in your space at the Chamber Park. So it's really, and there's a whole list of concerts for the remainder of the summer season, but tonight I'll just announce the Nashville Drive because it's being held tomorrow evening, June 25th, and it starts at 7:30 p.m. I'm sorry, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. And I also want to announce for those who are interested, the carp that has been a topic of discussion and conversation for Lake Mahopac, the triploid grass carp. I just want to announce that the carp have been ordered. The company that the town ordered them from indicates it will take about a week, between a week and a half for the fish to arrive here. They're coming up from down south. So when they do arrive here, they will be restocked into Lake Mahopac to deal with the issue of the weeds that seem to have returned since we stocked the lake back in 1994, the carp. So the DEC, New York State DEC, has issued a restocking permit. We can't do it without a permit from the state. They're the ones who control how many carp you can introduce back into the lake, and they've given us a permit for 200 of them. But they did indicate that in August, if another lake study is done subsequent to the one that they made the determination for the 200 on, if there's a lake study done in August, and that lake study indicates that more carp needed to be added to Lake Mahopac, they indicated that they would issue, based on the outcome of that report, or the findings of that report, additional carp for the lake. So the initial restocking will be for 200, and then they'll take another look at it in probably September or October, and hopefully more carp will be introduced back into the lake. So I know Susie's happy about this, that carp are finally going to be here. And just so everybody understands, they're going to be strategically placed in the lake. They're all not being put in the lake at one location. There is designated locations that the carp will be put back in the lake. All right? That's something else Susie was happy about and asking about. So, yeah, we'll make sure that they are. All right?
So like you can sit there and direct 10 fish that way, 10 fish that way, and Susie
Well,
will sit there and point the direction? Is that how it's going to work, Susie? Sue? You're going to just tell the fish, you go that way and you go that way?
You go that-
Oh.
Susie, your button. Go ahead. The public wants to hear you. What Susie's trying to say is that if you put all 200 in one location, there's going to be a smorgasbord for those fish. It's going to take them 10 years to get to the other side of the lake if they're put in one location. So what we're doing is we're putting them in the location at various spots around the lake, so each area will have the carp's attention. All right, and their food supply is plentiful out there, but at least they'll be working in different sections of the lake.
It's like a pizzeria in this side of town, a pizzeria in this side of town, a pizzeria in this side of town.
Yeah. So, and by the way, the original carp that were stocked back in 1994, somebody called me today and said that they saw one of the original carp that are still out there. So there is some carp that are still in the lake.
How do they know that?
No, they knew it was a carp.
But how do they know that was from 1990?
Because it's 3 feet long and weighs about 40 pounds.
Okay.
So because of the size, they can determine there was one of the original ones. There's not many left, but they're based on what this individual saw today, and he would have the knowledge of what
I was asking this in all seriousness how they...
how they knew it was
Yeah.
well, yeah, because of the size. Okay, does anybody have anything else? Is there anything going on this weekend that you guys are aware of that we should notify the public about? Oh, graduation's tomorrow evening. The eighth grade moving up ceremony was this evening, and Frank Lombardi's son, if I can mention it, his son Frankie moved up had the moving up. He participated in that ceremony this evening. Congratulations, Frank.
So did,
And
Rich
Frankie.
Franzetti's daughter
And Rich's daughter,
and the
And,
chief's daughter.
and the chief's daughter. Yep. And tomorrow evening, June 25th, Thursday evening, the high school graduation will be taking place over at Mahopac High School. So, Carmel, you know what? I don't know when Carmel's is, John, to be honest with you. I know Brewster had theirs, I believe, over the weekend. It was Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, WestCon, yeah. It's at WestCon. So hopefully the weather's nice tomorrow evening because it is an outdoor graduation ceremony. And I just want to congratulate all those students, all the seniors that are graduating from high school and moving on to post-secondary education. All of them may not be. Some may decide to, join the ranks of the military. Others may move on to tech schools and things like that. And congratulations and best luck in your future endeavors. And, hopefully you stay around the community after graduation. All right, so that's all I have. We do not have executive session this evening, so we're going to close the meeting right from here. I need a motion to close.
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone. Be well. We'll be back here next Wednesday, June 1st, for a town board voting meeting.
July 1st,
I'm sorry, July 1st, July 1st.
maybe. Maybe. Maybe, let's see how many